Hello everyone and welcome back to some Rapid Action Unleashes, where I will be playing some rapid games in order to try and provide the useful commentary for some of the players that are just getting into chess. And sometimes it takes me a bit more time to explain my thought process, and then I will maybe struggle with time trouble. But the point of these games is not to win every game or to play as best as possible. It's to try and explain the thought process behind the moves that I make. So sometimes, okay, I will run into time trouble mostly, but I feel like it will be more useful for others this way. But I will try to do the commentary during my opponent's thinking time, if at all possible. Okay, this is time for bullet. Let's increase this to 10 minutes per player, and as usual, we are only accepting higher rated opponents. So let's see who we get this game. Yeah, last time it took quite a while to find an opponent. Maybe no one is playing at this time. It's currently 12:45 p.m. Central European time, and our opponent is Petty Pro from Greece, rated 2296, and we are continuing with e4. Depending on what our opponent plays, yeah, we will be facing the Sicilian defense. So we've also been playing the Sicilian defense, but we went for the hyper accelerated dragon. He goes for the standard d6 stuff, which most of the times means that it's going to be a knight off. So yeah, knight f6, knight to c3, a6, and we're going to continue with the Adams attack with pawn to h3. And the idea is g4, g5. Sometimes they stop this with the immediate h5, which is fine, but basically you want to develop your light square bishop to this diagonal, maybe put the bishop on e3. And okay, sometimes it could be a little bit tricky because you do give up the c4 square, and you know, if you decide to go this way, then putting a knight on c4 might be very useful. But yeah, b5. Okay, not super familiar with that, but obviously he wants to get the bishop to b7 to put pressure on this pawn, and also if I just go g5 now, he might play bishop to b7, which will again put more pressure on my e4 pawn. So I'm not sure what to make of this, or if it's even good. But it is interesting. Yeah, it is interesting. I don't know how to tackle this. So I'm gonna have to abandon my plan for the moment. For the moment, we are abandoning our plan. We're gonna play queen to e2, and now we're gonna go for the advancement of the pawn. Sorry, it took took me like a minute to figure this out, and it might not even be the best of plans, but it is what I have, and that's what I meant by sort of explaining my thought process here. As a, you know, if I just continued with my plan, my opponent would play b4, win the e4 pawn, and I would be in a pretty bad spot here. So yeah, he knows what I'm doing. He wants to go for this knight maneuver to c4, or he might even put it to e5. We'll see what he does. But we are continuing with g4. We want to play g5. The make this knight sort of feel weird about being placed there. So I'm imagining c6 here. Maybe not allowing g5. But no, he wants to put more pressure here first. Okay, so we're going to defend. Bishop g2, we are defending it 3 times. He's attacking it 3 times, and we're having a good time. Threatening g5. But he is persistent. Okay, so e5 is always a great move. He does give me the f5 square, and he will have sort of a permanent weakness on d6. So now I will play a bishop e3, castles queenside, and I will put more pressure here. If he plays g6 to get rid of my knight, then okay, he gets rid of my knight, but he does push more pawns in front of his king, and yeah, I do get to remaneuver my knight. I don't get to remaneuver it via the e3 square, because then I weaken my pawn again, so I will have to play it to g3. But okay, from there it will also be guarding the pawn here. Should be very nice. And he has to calculate, is it okay to capture on e4? And no, it's not. He's gonna just go back. We're gonna go to g3. I actually didn't calculate if it was okay for him to capture here. I just thought, you know, in a way it can be, as it's okay. Now it's defended 4 times. Previously it was defended 3 times, so it's a bit of a Nimzovich way to go about things. You know, overprotecting one of your strong points, and then just piling up on your opponent's weakness, which is the d6 pawn. And that will be sort of our game plan here. Okay, so he wants to take advantage of d4 and f4 now being weakened. And I have to decide in this particular setup, do I want to go queenside or do I want to go kingside? So maybe going... This is very interesting. Yeah, this is very interesting. Yeah, I will play bishop to e3 to keep my options open. And if he goes to f4, I might even capture it. Not really sure yet. Because there might be some knight f4, bishop captures, pawn captures, and I play knight f5 back to sort of sacrifice my knight. As this would open up the attack towards his king and also open up this diagonal. But yeah, he stops, sort of wants to stop knight to d5. But yeah, I think now we can castle kingside safely. Yeah, we castle kingside safely. Yeah, he's also not interested in making a decision. He's keeping his king in the center of the board, you know, leaving all of his options open. And well, we don't have much. We either sacrifice on f5 if, you know, the position calls for it, or we double up on the d file, put pressure on the black's weakness, which is the d6 pawn. And yeah, we don't have to worry about any pushes here. The c2 pawn also is defended. So as you can see, he is spending more time than me, which is very rare. Obviously means that there are some merits to my position. So he just goes bishop to e7. He wants the castle. And yeah, now it's time to decide. Do we go for the d file and focus our attention on the d6 pawn? Or do we go for something like king to h2 followed by f4 and we go for an attack against the black king? I think both could have some merit. Also, bishop to h6 might not be something to throw away. But then I lose control over the d4 square and might be sort of a problem. Yeah, we're going for this. We're going for this. And also, it's useful if we ever decide to go for knight to f5. And let's say a trade happens, he goes g captures, I play e captures. This would open up this possibility, which if he captures, he might still be attacking my rook on f1. So the rook being on d1 might be very useful here. But yeah, we're basically just slow playing it, controlling b4, which is one of black's ideas always, controlling d5, which is also black's idea always. And now we're just gonna double up on the d file, and we'll take it from there. Probably maybe even include the other plan that we discussed, putting the king on h2, maybe going for f4, in the future maybe even f5, so we'll see. It's always weird, you know, when your opponent is spending time. You could think, okay, he's now struggling, trying to find a move, because it's also not easy for me to figure out what black would play here. And there are so many options that it's hard to even theorize. You know, you always have to watch out for something like rook captures on c3, as it's a standard sacrifice in the Sicilian defense. Luckily for me, the e4 pawn is now defended by both the bishop and the knight, so he cannot go for the standard rook captures, knight captures idea. And now he wants to, yeah, he wants to stop my expansion on the king side, and he wants to provoke g5. But okay, I actually think this is good for me, so I'm just gonna play it. Yeah, he goes here. He shifts his attention to the c5 square. Now we have to play h4. And now sort of castling kingside could be safe for him because of a blocked position, but I don't know. I'm not really sure. Not really sure about that. Because if he castles, then knight to f5 might even be a very, very unpleasant option for him. Yeah, and it's you kind of always have to watch out for those, like sacrificing the knight on d5 and the e5 in the Sicilian against the Sicilian. Yeah, so he does it. So okay, do we have a way to improve, because we don't have to rush this by any means. So we could even play rook to d2 and get this rook into the game first. Because I don't think there's a way for him to force anything here. And we could also play knight captures on h5, like knight captures on h5, g captures, queen captures. But what is the continuation here? That is the real question. So there's that. So I mean, it also doesn't look bad, but he has no ways of stopping that, so we don't have to rush it. Yeah, the knight coming to d4 or f4 is nice, but even if he does that, then we can sacrifice. So I'm guessing we just double up here. We just double up here, and all of the tactics that exist will exist even after the doubling up. But at least we should improve our position as much as possible before committing to such ideas. But yeah, I'm sort of liking knight captures on h5 even more than knight to f5. Knight to f5 is not even a sacrifice, as you know. Once he captures, the knight will be hanging, and also okay. So he does go for that. He sort of forces our hand into going for this knight captures on h5. We will do it, and we do have this square under control. So yeah, nothing to worry about there. The knight coming to d5 also could be very dangerous for him. Yeah. Yeah, it will be very interesting to see what he does. Yeah, the knight is coming here. That's sort of necessary, and he does now gain control over f3. And he does stop pawn to g6, but we're not interested in pawn to g6 right away. So let's yeah, I kind of want to play knight to d5, but then after we trade, this weakens my c2 pawn, as I don't think there's anything he can do here. Like, I don't think there's even a good move for him here. We can just go for bishop h3 also, as it comes with tempo, but we're not really interested in capturing the rook. We're mostly interested in this bishop to f5 move, going for checkmate. So he could stop that with something like f5, but I really don't believe that's even a move. I mean, if anything, he just gives back material. We're going to capture en passant, and then everything will be hanging. This bishop is pretty bad here. Yeah. I don't know. Bishop f5 looks to be very strong. So he does go for rook captures on c3. And of course, the idea is that once we capture, he will capture here, and he will have the h7 square guarded. But we don't have to react to that. We can just play bishop f5 and sort of force him to play what? Knight g6. Okay, but he can play. I'm going to capture. He's going to capture. I'm going to capture. And then I pick up the rook here while guarding the pawn. And we've won our material back and sort of ended the game on the spot. But no, okay. Very interesting. If we play this, he also has knight to f3 check. But that's nothing. Yeah, that's nothing for us to worry about. So yeah, bishop here. And now a sort of knight to g6 does appear to be the only move he has, because if he moves the rook, then just check king here, and this is checkmate. So he will have to play this, but then it's game over. Yeah, I don't think there's a I don't think there's a better way of playing this. Yeah, he's probably trying to figure out if knight to f3 check is anything at all here, but it's not. Since after king h1, there's no move here. Oh, there is. Okay, there is. Maybe. Yeah, knight f3 check. King h1, he can capture on g5. But no, that's just silly. Yeah, we go here. I don't see the point of knight to f3. Huh. Perhaps he will explain it to me. Yeah, but now knight g5, I just capture, h captures on g5. It's nothing. Yeah, or I'm missing stuff. But yeah, I kind of think maybe knight to g6. I think both ideas are lost for black, but I think knight to g6 was perhaps a bit more resilient. Yeah, f6 is nothing. We just deliver a mate in 1. Yeah, which is, I mean, it's interesting that last video I made was on Michael Adams, and this game I'm playing the Adams attack against the Sicilian. So you know, it's nice when things work out. Regardless of the outcome of the game, of course, I might still lose this. As sometimes I miss the weirdest stuff, and you know, I think I'm completely winning, and then my opponent just says, "Nope, your position is actually terrible." So now he controls the h7 square. We do have to recapture here. But that's still nothing. Yeah, he doesn't have any checks. I mean, he can do one or maybe this one. Well, yeah, maybe bishop captures with check. Bishop captures an f5. Yeah, that's sort of a move, but still. Yeah, you can do that. Sure. So what's the cleanest way to end this? What's the cleanest way? Play g6, threaten mate. Play g6, rook f7, and then we pin the rook. Pin the rook, and that's pretty much it. Do we do something else? Like we could also give a check first and then mate on h6. That's also possible. Okay, this looks cooler, but you know, it's better to play correct moves than the cool ones. Sometimes I go for the cool move instead of the correct one, and then I miss my opponent's cool move, and then he really punishes me. So yeah, it's better to do it this way. All right, good game, Mr. Perry Pro 100. Now it's time for the fun part. Let's analyze all of the things we've done poorly. So we've had it a few times on this rapid series. I went for the Adams attack, and he played b5. Yeah, okay, I thought a4 was the way to go, but I wasn't sure. But okay, let's see now so that we remember it for forever. Knight d5, and of course captures, runs into bishop to c4, which seems to be very good for white. But yeah, it's hard to commit for something like this if you don't know that it's very good for sure. And then what? Bishop b7. You go for the it's sort of you go for the immediate destruction. You know, you wake up and you choose a violence. Bishop g5. Wow. Knight c6, and now we capture. And after bishop captures, kingside castles. So basically, just a really strong way of getting a lot of initiative. And after this, you will pick up the b4 pawn. Yeah. Okay. g6. What? This is this line lasts forever, and now you capture on a6, and you have the past a and past b pawns, and being completely winning. So the early b5 should be met with a4, and it seems to be very hard for black to play. I played a3, bishop b7, and I played queen e2. Okay, knight here, g4. My opponent went for knight c5, really going for that e4 pawn. Knight f5, g6, knight to g3. Okay, so this is all pretty standard stuff. Castles, bishop to e7, rook d1. I decided to go for the doubling up of the pawns, and he went h5, g5. We go here. Yeah, it's still pretty much 0-0 territory. Yeah, see, the engine is giving knight f5, as we've discussed here. And while I do enjoy it, I decided to go for rook to d2 first. Which for some reason the engine doesn't like for me. Yeah, the engine doesn't like my sacrifice at all because of what? Yeah, rook captures on e3 right away. But why is it good now? That's the question. Why is rook captures on e3 good now? B captures knight e5, okay. Sort of stops the attack. Okay. So he wanted to do it this way. To guard the g6 square, and now if I try my idea of bishop to h3, yeah, now of course bishop captures on e4. Now it's impossible. So this is how he could have defended against it. Yeah, but I played he played knight to e5 right away, and then bishop to h3 is very strong. So it's basically the only move that allows me to take advantage of his weird idea. But still, f5 is the way to go, and then g6, king g7, queen h7 with check. The engine says that it is possible to defend this, but he went for rook captures on c3 now. The move that he should have gone for a few moves ago, but now after this, it's completely winning. So yeah, if he went for knight to g6, the move we discussed, it's still not very good for him. Queen h6 check, king g8, and now g6, rook f7, captures, captures, and now we deliver a check, and also pick up the rook here, and now we're going to have 2 rooks against 2 bishops, and of course he's going to be completely winning. He didn't go for that. He allowed checkmate to appear on the board, and after bishop captures, yeah, there's not much here that he can do. We played 1 check, and he resigned here. Yeah, like I said, if we went for g6, it's still completely winning, but yeah, this is mating a few moves, so of course it's always better to go for that queen h6 checkmate. Yeah. Yeah, not the most precise game of the Adam's attack against the Sicilian. I did give my opponent that 1 chance for rook captures on c3. I didn't see it, but luckily for me, neither did he. But, you know, it's always important to know about this option, because black will always sacrifice that rook on c3. And to tell you the truth, I hate playing against it with white, because it gives black so much counterplay. Whenever black plays it against me, I always, you know, I kind of wish I was the one playing with the black pieces. It's also one of the reasons why I want to become a Sicilian player, because it's just so wonderful to sacrifice the exchange like this. But we'll see. So far, I'm doing okay, but with very, very mixed results. So yeah, once again, really hope you guys enjoyed it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, checking up on your wonderful suggestions, continuing the London Chess Classic, and continuing this rapid series, hoping to improve, and hope you guys are improving with me as well. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.